we have another case of art tracing, because when does this stop?
A lot of artists have taken tracing to new heights and are literally tracing over drawings made by other artists on the internet and using that to grow their own accounts, pretending like the drawings were made by them.
You're tracing an AI-made piece. What you're doing is you're tracing a chewed up, digested, and vomited piece of art.
Hello there. So today I woke up and decided I wanted to speedrun getting cancelled this year, and I figured out the best way to do that was to talk about tracing. Truth be told, I wasn't sure if I wanted to make this video at all, but I went through the trouble of a year-long social experiment, so I might as well see it through to the end. If I get cancelled, so be it. Tracing has been a controversial topic for a very long time. Some people equate it to plagiarism, while others say that it's a good form of practice. More often, people believe the former. Tracing is largely looked down upon, and many tracers who get caught are deemed fake artists by the art community. But what if I told you that all of these people getting caught for tracing are amateurs, and that the best tracers never actually get caught? In this video, I will show you a little social experiment I did, and I will be breaking down exactly how the most effective art tracers are passing under everyone's radar. So how did the social experiment work? Essentially, I wanted to prove that tracers who get caught tend to be weaker artistically, and that tracers who really know what they're doing can't be spotted by your average viewer. The experiment went like this. A year and a half ago, I made 2 pieces of fan art by tracing and posted both of them on Reddit and Instagram to see if anyone would notice that they were traced. For good measure, I also posted a speed paint of one of the drawings to help cover my tracks. And after 1 whole year, it turns out, I was right. Not a single person caught me tracing. Let's look at the results of this experiment. The first drawing was viewed by about 17,000 people. It received 162 likes across platforms and 18 comments in total. Not one comment mentioned tracing or any sort of foul play. The second one got, oh my god, 640 total likes across platforms, 32 comments on Reddit, and most of them are either praise or perfectly normal critiques. But how? How could I possibly trace someone else's image, leave it up for over a year, have over 45,000 people see it, and never get caught? Well, first of all, the best tracers never trace from one single image. They pick a variety of images and cut all of them together to create something else entirely. When you think of art tracing, chances are you're probably thinking of something like this. It's pretty obvious that one image was traced from the other. That's because this tracer copied from a single source image, which is honestly kind of amateurish. Literally, how did they expect not to get caught this way? In the 2 trace drawings I made, I counted at least 4 source images per drawing. Yes, I traced pieces of all of them, but by putting all the parts together, I created something that looks entirely different from any of the original images. Now, you may have noticed that a pretty big chunk of this drawing is not traced. The gauntlets, boots, folds of the pants, belt, and other costume elements are hand-drawn. Why did I do this? Well, the second thing I learned about tracers is that the good ones usually know how to draw already, and that not everything they draw is traced. The best tracers use tracing as a shortcut, not an artistic crutch. Don't believe me? Let's look at how an amateur tracer does it so that it's more obvious. On the left is the original image and on the right is the traced one. If we overlay them, you can see from the face and the body shape that the second image is definitely traced. However, the hair is unique to the second drawing and so are the clothes. This means that the tracer definitely knows how to draw on their own but isn't doing that for some reason. My best guess is that they're new to anatomy, but they know how to draw over a body. Now imagine something like this, but in the hands of a more experienced artist. Let's say that they know how to draw basic anatomy, clothes, and hair, but it takes them a very long time to draw arms. A smart tracer would draw the rest of the body themselves, but trace the arms off another image in order to speed things up. My point is that a lot of tracers don't rely on tracing for their entire drawing. They'll often trace some parts but draw the rest themselves. But surely there is a way to tell if someone is tracing or not. There's speed paints. If they have a speed paint and they're not tracing in it, then they can't be a tracer, right? Well, that's not the case either. Speed paints are very easy to fake, even without AI. I did not use AI at all when I recorded this speed paint. Here's how I did it. I don't know how it works in other programs, but at least in Procreate, there's this little button that you can use to set your image layers to private. This way, they won't show up in your speed paints even if they're visible on your canvas. I'm sure other drawing platforms have a similar function. By the way, there's absolutely no way I'm the only one who knows about this. Somebody out there is making trace speed paints as we speak, and there's literally nothing any of us can do about it. And in case you don't have enough trust issues yet, some speed paints that look like this are not traced. For example, this right here looks like I'm tracing, but what actually happened was that I used a grid to map out the proportions, and then the grid didn't show up in the time-lapse recording. So for all we know, 2 speed paints could look exactly the same, one could be traced, the other could be entirely organic, and we'd never know the difference. So to recap, any tracer with a brain is never going to trace a single image by itself. They're going to trace a variety of images and cut them together to form something different than the original. On top of that, most tracers actually have some drawing skills, meaning that a lot of traced artworks also contain freehand, unique components, which obviously makes it difficult to determine whether someone is tracing or not. And of course, you can't rely on speed paints for proof because they're very easy to fake, and some real speed paints look traced even though they aren't. Surprisingly, this experiment made me completely change my mind about tracing. I used to get really annoyed with it, you know? I thought there's nothing creative about this. But after this experiment, I don't really have a problem with tracing anymore. I mean, yes, don't copy other people's art to a T, I think that's a given. But if you're mashing so many images together that the final product is completely unrecognizable from the originals, then literally how is that any different from making a collage or simply drawing something inspired by someone else's work? You can't tell that it's traced, I can't tell that it's traced, I bet a ton of professionals can't even tell that it's traced. So is there really any harm? To be honest, I don't think so. That is all for this video. Make sure to subscribe for more weird art content like this one. If you found this video entertaining or informative, don't forget to leave a like, and if you didn't, well, I don't know how you're still here. This is literally my longest video right now. For anyone who made it to the end, I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Bye bye!